Hi guys, today we're gonna watch the second part of my walk. So we continue from the Arbat Street close to the Toy Wall. So this is that fancy house, and we see these vent shafts close to the place of supposed buried first floor. And here's that big gray house with 9 floors. To the left we see the rectangle theater, which is made in colonial style. So it looks like pretty much Great Tartarian style or maybe Roman Empire style, whatever, which is pretty much the same empire. You know what I've been thinking is that Great Tartaria was one part and the Holy Roman Empire was the second part. And then they got split one more time, and what we know is Russia came out of this Great Tartaria, China, and also many other countries like Turkey, India, Iran, Afghanistan, and many more. Even Alaska was a part of Great Tartaria and probably half of North America. This is what explains that the frontier was actually going on only in 19th century. And before that there was only 13 states or something like that. So look at this house, looks like pretty old one, and it actually is quite the period of the mud flood, 1852. And this great nine-story building, which is like 7 stories on this side and 9 stories on the front side. It's just a whole big block building. It surrounds all the area. Also, we see many windows on the side of this rose house, pink house. Also made in Tartarian style. Also called Neo-Russian style. And here's that building, and we see the entrance to the basement, hidden basement floor, which actually was the probably the first floor. Right now it's all reconstructed this way, and I've been saying that the closer to subway you are, the better reconstruction is, and the more expensive your real estate is. So they paid a lot of money to reconstruct it, to make these huge windows on the first floors, which actually 2 floors connected in one. As you can see, this theater still has buried windows in the center area. And this building, which I was looking from the back just right now, only has the false windows to the previous first floor. And we're walking further to Arbat, closer to Moscow center. And I stepped to one of the side streets to see if I can see more houses. And I saw this fancy house which has only one store, and I hoped it had some buried windows, but it didn't. although the house right near it had some evidence of something underneath. This building didn't have any, but I probably think it's just all buried and now it looks this fancy way. But this top of this building looks totally Tesla coil style. So probably used to be on top of this two-story building in the past, but now it's just a one-story building. What's the use of building one-story buildings? I don't know. Such expensive land here. Probably it's just buried, but we can't say for sure. I've seen a couple more houses with buried windows in the front, but I was kind of hungry, so I was supposed to finish this walk, and so I returned. Pretty much disappointed that this one that didn't have any evidence inside. So I walked back to Arbat Street and still continued to search through the side streets and see how many buildings there with the evidence. I figured I should picture all this. And those houses look pretty fancy, pretty European. But still, this is just the same style. With the statues, columns and stuff like this. So just imagine if this was all reconstructed in 19th century and we see what we see. And still some evidence left with those buried windows. And they say it's just because of crap. Of course we have to believe scientists, they never lie, Burying the whole city in one night like Prague, or the famous house, the palace of one Russian nobleman was also buried in one day, in one night, when they figured a check-in from the emperor house would come. And look, this wooden house on the top and the hidden first floor. So probably this was the building and they put the wooden top on it just to survive after the mud flood. Because it's pretty cold in Russia to stay in the mud. So that's why people are supposed to build more wooden houses and those that are totally buried. Use the basements and stuff like this. So I figured I returned to Arbat and I went further towards center. Searching for more evidence inside. And I stopped to look around, maybe find some cafe where I could eat. And I've seen these two outside WCs, which are plenty in Moscow, but nobody uses them actually because, they look so unfriendly, And I've seen something. It looks like an old house or something like this. So I should come back here pretty much some more other time. And that building is also in reconstruction today, and probably we can see some evidence. All this stone panels or whatever you call them, it's just not the real stone here. But they hide it. They hide all those windows with the stone panels, looking like a full stone. But sometimes they leave some windows because if you don't have many money, you don't have to. You can't just build ventilation shafts. So you leave some windows like this, which are totally nonsense. Classical colonial style, new Russian style. This is all great Tartarian styles. And all those houses look the same pretty much. Some have more, reconstructed upper floors, and most of the first floors looking very nice. And most of them, as you can see, have those buried first floors. And all this is just the red brick buildings, you know, red brick, you know, red, orange brick, whatever you call them. Look at these ugly windows that are not unproportional. One of these just windows just, you know, closed with the bricks. And on the bottom we see some evidence of vent shafts, which is supposed to be like a basement floor, and we see an entrance to it. This is the embassy of Turkmenistan, and we also see buried windows. This is not supposed to be designed like this, right? And this is Filipovsky side street. Also many windows. And St. Philip's Church here. Pretty fancy and looking pretty old. This is a diplomatic area, diplomatic, you know, district. Plenty of foreign embassies here. I look at this first floor, barely sticking out of the ground here, and this tower is not to be designed like this. You know, there's plenty of questions to towers and the design of towers, and why couldn't they, you know, construct them this way so it would be easy to hang the bells inside, not to do anything else to do that, to make up some, you know, way how to hang the bell. All those huge arcs in the windows, and on the other street also buried windows, barely sticking out of the cars here. On both sides actually, as you can see. So we're walking towards the one of the areas I was a year before, and showing you some muffled evidence also. And after this we're gonna be watching the more interesting episode, which I haven't edited yet. Look at this. This is just, you know, good evidence here. So the next one was gonna be about ancient power station, which probably was captured by the regime that came to order and establishing the new world order right now, after ruining the old world order. What do you say? Was this church planned to have this wooden letter on the sides? I doubt that. I think it's not supposed to be designed like that. If this is a gate, it's supposed to be on the ground. And if this have a buried windows over there in the back, so probably this was just covered with rocks just to hide the evidence of the buried first floor. So the whole street of Filipovsky side street is just pretty much the same, and plenty of evidence. Even on the reconstructed houses we see many of them. So we finally come to Sivsky Vrajik side street, and I'm not gonna walk there because I've showed this side street before last year. But to remind you, just I show it from this side, and then I go to so-called Boulevard Ring. It has a sculpture or monument for one of the Russian writers, and it looks like the area was flooded and the horses swim close to him, and he's like on a rock or something like this, on the boat. I don't know what's this supposed to mean. But this definitely symbolizes something. So if you step up this little wave or the stairs, step upstairs, whatever. So you see this huge antique building, antique style, with the first unproportional floor. Looks like the windows are also being fixed to look this ugly way. And this is probably the end of this part. Maybe tomorrow or later I'm gonna put out the third part about the power station. So stick around and subscribe, press bell for notifications.